Hi, I'm Julie.
And I'm Caleb. Welcome to Nursing You, the podcast where we redefine nursing in today's healthcare landscape. Join Julie and I as we step outside the box on an unconventional healing journey.
Together, we're diving deep into the heart of nursing, exploring the intricate relationships between caregivers and patients with sincerity and depth.
Our mission is to create an open and collaborative experience where learning is expansive and fun.
From the psychological impacts of nursing to the larger implications on the healthcare system, we're sparking conversations that lead to healing and innovation.
We have serious experience and we won't pull our punches, but we'll also weave in some humor along the way because we all know laughter is often the best medicine.
It is, and we won't shy away from any topic, taboo or not. From violence and drugs to family and love, we're tackling it all.
Our nursing knowledge is our base, but we will be bringing insights from philosophy, religion, science, and art to deepen our understanding of the human experience.
So whether you're a nurse, a healthcare professional, or just someone curious about the world of caregiving, this podcast is for you.
One last thing, a quick disclaimer before we dive in. While we're both registered nurses, nothing we discuss here should be taken as medical advice. Always consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider for any medical concerns you may have. The views expressed here are our own and don't necessarily reflect those of our employers or licensing bodies.
So let's get started on this journey together. Welcome to Nursing You, where every conversation leads to a healthier world.
Welcome back.
Yep. Welcome back another week.
Another week. It feels like it's been a long time since we recorded.
Well, we didn't record last week.
Yeah.
It's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We've been busy. What's going on?
A lot going on, yeah.
A lot going on. But I was very excited to record today. I was actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, same.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
In all aspects.
Yeah. I was trying to describe it to someone this weekend, and the way that I've been describing what we're doing is, and the name Nursing You, like Julie and I are having the conversation, we're nursing each other, and us having that conversation and sharing it with everyone else is nursing you, the audience.
Yes.
And as we talked through it, it was the healing, like just us talking, to have community and have a shared experience with someone. So many times we feel so isolated and alone, and doing this, it feels so good to have somebody to share. Yeah.
It feels powerful. Like you have a place for all the thoughts swimming around in your head, and you have like-mindedness. So you can understand that other people also feel the same way. Therefore not feeling so isolated.
Yeah.
So and I think just listening to us talking can help people not to feel so isolated. I know when I was listening to podcasts, when I was quitting drinking, it was almost like a lifeline for me.
Absolutely.
Listening to people who went through a lot of the same things and feelings that I did and how they were able to overcome.
Yep.
And it helps so much.
Yeah.
So we could state the obvious. Caleb's in a new place.
I'm in a new spot.
Yeah.
Yep. Got moved in, and still have to figure out the decor back here. But
Sure.
It's,
And now that you have something, I'm going to have to get something. So I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just in my daughter's office and I have to move her little things, but I'm going to get something.
Yeah. I've also taken on a new role in nursing, something I've never done before. I'm doing hospice.
Yeah.
Which is it feels like a complete shift. We did a lot of palliative care in the ICU that we worked in, a lot. I mean, and that setting, it's it's totally different because you're there for 12 hours, and when you're doing hospice in home, you're going into such an intimate setting, and the nurse that I'm training with, the connection that they have with their patients is so different than anything that I experience in the hospital, because it's long term. It's, a lot of times hospice patients, they don't just go right away. They can, it can happen, of course, but oftentimes I think there's a lot about hospice that I have to still learn. Obviously, I'm just starting, but who goes on hospice for what is so much more nuanced than I had anticipated. I expected that I would just come in and you're going to see people in their home and they're going to die. And that's just, because that's what happens in the hospital.
Right. Right. If you make it up the elevator.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You go from ICU, you're on hospice. So get out of here.
Yeah.
And because we need a bed.
Right.
And if you grab the lucky straw, if you make it from
the unit to the
first floor to the fourth floor.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can imagine it's a whole different experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's bringing up, I haven't, during COVID, I didn't have the overwhelming experience of death. I had some, but it was nothing like what we had even at our hospital, in the early mid 2000s. The volume of death that we experienced and the way that we experienced death there was so different. So having this new and unique exposure to death is bringing up some thoughts for me. And, I think, like I've said it so many times, the experience of suffering and death is completely siloed on the healthcare workers. And, going into homes and being with the families in such an intimate setting and having the conversations that you have with them and seeing them cope. And it makes me feel, like we have a shared experience. Yeah. And just, even though they're not healthcare workers, they are in-home healthcare workers. And it feels, I just feel a connection to them.
Well, think about it. I mean, we have talked about before, and you have a strong connection to the fact that in this day and age, we do not share the death experience. Mm-hmm. It is siloed within the hospital. The majority of it is. And you are now experiencing the shared experience.
Yeah.
That you've talked about, that we're not doing. And
right.
You are literally in it now. You are sharing the experience as it should be, as it used to be, as it always was.
Yeah.
Just like you've talked about in the past, you didn't if your family member was dying, you did not go to the hospital. That's not where you went. Them at home, the doctor may have stopped by, you dabbed their brow, you took care of their, if they needed to be repositioned. And I mean, I'm talking about Laura Ingalls Wilder days. That's the shared experience that's how it always was, until some shift happened and everybody thinks everybody's got to go to the hospital because God, we can't touch them. We can't help them. We have nothing. We cannot do it. Almost exactly what they need. That is what they need.
Yeah.
They need to be with their loved ones, sharing that experience. And so now you're kind of this overseer of that. Mm-hmm. With the knowledge that you have, teaching these family members what the experience is going to be like. Because you're taking care of the patient, but you're also taking care of the family and teaching them and showing them. Yeah. And they're probably teaching you and showing you a lot of things that, I bet your mind is just exploding.
Yeah. I mean, one of the thoughts is just the amount of trauma that we've experienced unnecessarily. So many times the people that come in, how many times does CPR really work? Right. It's just not that common. And we do all these heroic things to keep something alive, keep someone alive that is trying to die. And that is, we carry that. We're still carrying that experience, all of those experiences that we've had. I mean, it does happen. It feels great when you do save someone and they come back and they're able to thank you. It's amazing. And not saying that we shouldn't try, but it's when the calmness of hospice is so beautiful in contrast to our experience. Yeah. I mean, and we had those. I think, well, this would be a fun question. Someone asked me a while back, what was my best day in nursing? Like, it's easy to find my worst.
That's a great question.
So I know my best day in nursing. We were in the ICU, pod 1, room 1. Mm-hmm. And this woman was absolutely dying. There was no question about it. And she knew it and she had accepted it, but she wanted to wait until her granddaughter could get there so she could say goodbye. Mm-hmm. And that conversation happened at the beginning of the shift. And as the shift progressed, she just needed a lot of coaching on breathing. She had some lung disease that was killing her. And so I approached the charge nurse and I said, this lady needs me to be with her. And so I ended up sitting the remainder of the shift. I mean, it was like 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours that I sat with her and coached her and held her hand and talked to her. I told her stories. It was that experience that you just don't get in the hospital. It's so rare that you get to do that. And I sat with her and she was so thankful and, told me that I helped her stay alive. And her granddaughter got there at the end of my shift. They said their goodbyes and she died. I mean, just like that. I mean, it was incredible. And I felt like I had given her, even though I didn't do much of anything for her, the fact that I was able to be there and give my life energy to her to keep her, to just like what even
that's
is
all it was. What else could it be? You weren't pumping her full of oxygen. We didn't intubate her. We didn't put her on anything else. We didn't do drip. You were giving her life sustaining energy and presence and you were giving her you and connection.
Yeah.
That kept her alive.
Yeah, right. And to meet the objective that she had, which was to tell her granddaughter she loved her and goodbye. And it was so incredible. I mean, it gives me goosebumps when I think about it. It was just such a beautiful moment. And I think that's my best day.
Wow.
Yeah. What's your best day in nursing?
God.
Easy to find the bad ones.
I may have to come back next week. Just this. So the real now. I'm like, okay, was that?
Well, this kind of goes into what we were talking about before we started talking, which is connecting. We've talked about it recently, connecting to the positive things. We're so programmed to connect to the negative things, and that keeps us in this negative state of mind. So connecting to the positive elements, like I've got another story, the death story, a good death story. I don't remember which pod I was in or which room, but it was late at night. And this guy was, again, he knew he was dying. And he just had one of those peaceful presences. He just had a peaceful presence about him. And he had fully accepted what was happening. And I stood, I wasn't able to give him the same attention that I'd given the other patient, but I was with him when he passed. And I just remember I was standing beside his bed. My monitor was up in the left-hand corner and I'm watching his heart go and he's gone. And I leaned over him, because you just, when the soul is gone, it's gone. You like, there's just a definitive, it just changes. And I leaned over him, and I got so close to his face, and I was just like, where did you go? Where'd you go, bro? Where did you go?
Where'd you go, bro?
Bro, where'd you go? Man.
And he's standing behind you, creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm right here.
Yeah. Like, he heard me. Like, I was, nice to him and kind and generous, but just, where did you go? God. Yeah. I'm so curious.
It is.
Yeah.
I have one story that's similar to that, which this man was dying and he had no family. He was on the ventilator and maybe had an art line. And so, you just know, like, the ventilator obviously will keep them like mechanically breathing, but I was like, oh, okay. So I went in there because he had nothing. He had no one. And I just stood by the bed. And honestly, I don't think I was even looking at the monitor. I was looking at him. And you can tell. Uh-huh. You just watch. And I think I got up probably because his like heart rate was like, now we're going. Right. So I got up and went in there because I don't feel like anybody should be in the presence of no one when they're dying. Yeah, whether it's 5 seconds or 3 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever. Uh-huh. So I think I saw his heart rate drop. So I knew it was happening. So I went in there, stood by the bed, and just kind of waited. And the breathing, is more from like that guppy breathing, intermittent with the vent breaths. So you can just tell. And then that stopped. So then it was just like, I can hear it in my mind of just the regular ventilated breaths. And I swear to God, I felt like through me, I have goosebumps, through me, over across the room, and like out that window that I was standing behind. He was here, it went, and then it out the window. And the energy, gone. Wow. No more neuro energy, no more heart energy, no more nervous system energy. Nothing was going through him. And, I wouldn't have said that was one of my best days. It was an experience for me that I know nurses know when they're gone, despite all the things keeping them alive. Mm-hmm. But I think when I felt best at work, probably, I even hate saying this, but is when I was doing supervisor, and I would be able to help other nurses in a bind.
I was literally just thinking about that. My instance where the physician abandoned me and the patient died, like, it could be a really good day for you. You saved me. Yeah. Yeah. It was saving other nurses, I think, for me. It felt, you could picture like the captain of a ship. When we made it through the rough seas on the shift, and that was victory. Those were good days for me. At least that's what I experienced as good. Right. So saving and helping the nurses, even maybe with a difficult male Foley. Yeah. 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 You can say that. I'm like, nope, that's not how we do it. That is not how we do it. Or you are never going to get it in. Oh my gosh. Or the draw sheet with multiple people pulling up a panis.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is victory.
That is victory.
You get done. And I can remember feeling the feeling of like, oh God, we fucking did it. Yeah. We did it. And I would go around sometimes and give high fives. Yeah. Like, you understand what we just did?
Yeah.
Are you understanding what we just got through?
Yeah.
So those were some of my best, what I would say, but like, was it? Is that really the best? I guess it was the connection with the other nurses that I felt was my place and my education and my ability to teach and support, because I don't know, I guess the nursing examples are like,
Well, I mean, I said it at the very, very beginning. I think the very, very first podcast, I deferred to you. You were and are such a tremendous leader. It didn't matter how much chaos was happening. You even if you didn't have control, no one ever knew it. You just always had that presence that we're going to get through this and it's going to be good.
yeah.
Always. You're a tremendous leader.
And I don't know where that comes from. I mean, I feel like, you can build and grow leaders, but I had that from day one. Even in nursing school, I was like that.
Yeah.
With your little people. And because I graduated and I was turned 18, and then I went to some school. And so I was probably like 5 years or 6 years out of high school before I went to nursing school. I mean, I had my undergraduate stuff, but when I actually got into nursing school, because I started in 2000 and graduated in, oh God, it was longer than that. I graduated in 91. And no, I graduated in 2000. So in 98. So it was like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So all those little new little nurses, CNA before, so I was kind of always, maybe because of the age I went to school, like the mom. I didn't have kids yet, but I was like the mom and had that role. And again, I think that kind of comes from our growing up and how we were and what we had to do and what kind of situations we were placed in, and just things that develop your personality. So
Sure.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of my positive experiences at work were the in-between times of patient care. Even though I feel like I was really good at patient care, but it always let me down. Like I just felt like I just could never do what I really wanted to do. I never could be the nurse I really wanted to be. I mean, it was very rare, meaning I wanted to spend more time with the patients. I wanted to be in there longer.
Yeah.
I wanted to help them with their evening cares. I wanted to make sure that they were this, that, and the other. I always felt rushed to do the tasks that needed to be done. And that left me feeling empty a lot of the time. And I think that has accumulated into what they're now calling moral injury, which is I just couldn't give what I knew I wanted to.
Yep.
Because of time,
Yep.
time, and not enough nurses and too much to do.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why I lean more towards the education, the leader, charge nurse role, because that gave me fulfillment. I could do that.
Well, you were nursing staff.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Along with my patients. But,
of course.
I feel like my ability to take care of my patients was at a level that allowed me to also nurse the staff.
Uh-huh.
And nursing the staff left me feeling more fulfilled than nursing the patients. I think I mean, there's so many stories and so many patients. It's hard to say always and never and this, that, and the other. But, I think that's why you and I are thriving in the jobs. Like you will thrive in hospice. I am currently working in a pediatric home health.
Yeah.
So I don't have a caseload. I literally take care of a little boy for 12 hours a day in his home.
Yeah.
And it is like a little mini PICU. We have the suction and the vent and the stat monitor, and I give his meds and his tube feeding and all of that. But it's very, very, very controlled. and I can slowly, wash his little eyes and take care and brush his teeth and turn and watch and make sure and do all the things that my brain says you are complete. When I leave there, I feel very complete.
Is that your heart or your brain?
Probably my heart.
Yeah.
Now my brain says, you did. You were able to get all that stuff done. It's something, like something breaks right there for me. Yeah. Did you get all your tasks done? Yeah. Did you see all 8 patients? Yes. Did they get all their meds? Yes, they did. And everything was on fucking time.
Yeah.
But it's broken still for me. It's got to be that presence, the being, the connection. So I feel very connected with my pediatric patient. I feel that he feels me there, fully present.
Not worried about your timeline of getting this med or that med to your next guy or whatever.
I give all meds on time, but I have so much time in between to notice little things. We've kept them out of the hospital multiple times because of the attention too.
Sure.
And it's just, I don't know.
It's fulfilling.
It is very fulfilling. So I leave feeling very fulfilled, and I don't leave like I have to cut it off and leave it there because I can't fucking think about it. That's what we did so many years at the hospital. Just get to cut it off. Yeah. You give the mess over to the next nurse coming on. It's a mess.
Yeah.
You have no control over what they're going to do, only what you were able to do. And sometimes it feels like a bare minimum. So those feelings, those lingering, I don't know, ends that just are, floating around out there. Coming into these new positions later in life, it has been very, very interesting to kind of step back and look at. I mean, I said the words, I will never work home health. I will never.
See, I think home health I think it's almost the only solution that we have to the healthcare crisis.
I do believe that now.
I see it very clearly that the models that we've been operating under for so long aren't working. And, there's families are going to have to take care of their own again. It's just going to have to happen. And I don't know what that looks like. I think nursing would be just what you said, just as you were describing my role in hospice, educating and overseeing and guiding the process that will just be kind of nodes of knowledge that bounce around from house to house to assist and provide guidance. Because there's just too many people that are on the threshold of needing care.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just not enough of us. It's just math. It's just math.
Math.
Yeah.
Does not add up.
Yeah, it does not add up.
No, it does not add up. But I think what we get out of our job has to fulfill something. So, it keeps the positive things kind of keep us there, but they have to outweigh the negative, or you have to have a different perspective of it.
Well, I mean, I think that goes back to choosing, like, I don't know, I read you one of the things that I had in my notebook about, we have a choice in what we think about. So we can choose to think positive thoughts. You can have, like, the idea that you can have absolutely everything and still be sad. Or you could be someone who has absolutely nothing and full of joy. Like, it makes no sense. And really, it's just the person that has the joy, even though he has nothing, is the person that chooses to use his imagination to think about good things. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, really, I can just think about good things and be happy.
Yeah. And I think
Such a crazy thought.
Well, it is. You and I know this because we've been practicing it and we've seen the results of what that produces in our own lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And it is, you can't say that it's not. It just is that way. I don't know. It's like a universal law or something. I mean, it attracts like always.
Yeah.
And so if you are only thinking about the negative and only thinking about the times that are not fulfilling and all your bad experiences in your career, then that is what it's going to be. I mean, we get to choose to make it into what it is.
We get to choose our thoughts.
We do.
Yeah. Which is like how many people are so angry and so upset about perceived injustices today when they're choosing to think about those things. I mean, not that the injustices don't exist or that there shouldn't be something done. I mean, we're here doing this because of our experience and we want to do something about it. We don't want to just be lazy and wallow in our self-pity. We want to
or keep it to ourselves.
Or keep it to ourselves.
We just can't hold it in. If you feel like you got to say something, you got to say something.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like that. I've been, I've been pretty mouthy over the years, and if I think something and I'm just going to say it because that's just the way it is. And I think that keeps your brain a little bit organized into reacting to what is perceived injustice.
Or responding rather than reacting.
Right.
Responding is more controlled.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a time that is so crazy in so many ways. We've made so many advancements in so many ways, and yet we're still the same people that we were before we had all this technology. And the technology, I think it changes the way we think. It changes the way we see. I mean, so just mental workshop moment. I was on an airplane. It's been years ago. And I remember walking up behind this young girl. She was already in her seat. She's holding her phone and she's contorting her face to get just the right smile, just the right thing, right? Just the right angle, the right geometry. Like she was studying her own geometry. And I had this moment of like, I got to my seat, or I had time to process what I had just seen. And it was so clear to me, like, this, I hate the word narcissist. I hate the catchphrase psychology things, but like in Greek mythology, Narcissaro, I think it was Narcissaro. Okay. He stared into the water at his own image, and it ultimately killed him. I mean, because he could think about nothing else but his own beauty. So this child is staring at herself, contorting herself, studying her geometry to get just the right image. And as I processed that, the mental workshop piece is how did we study geometry previous to when we had these devices in our hands? And we would study daisies and roses and flowers and natural geometries that existed completely external to us. The focus was external. It was never entirely upon ourselves as it is today. And I don't know, how did I even get onto this ramble? What did you say that sparked these thoughts about technology?
we have a choice to make. And, if we're choosing to look within and get to know, thyself, we'll have one perception of the world, versus if you're looking outside of yourself and blaming everything else, you'll have another perception of it. And so choosing to block out pieces of the world or pieces of, I wonder what she was thinking when she was doing that. Was she
cultivating a perfect image for Instagram or whatever it was, presenting,
you're right,
contorting herself,
choosing that that's important because she knows no other, or she does not believe that her own image is just perfect in and of itself.
Yeah, that's a thing. We've been sold that lie. I would definitely agree with that. I don't know. It seems like there was something more. I was chasing down something more there.
It'll come to you. And so how does the hospice position differ from like working in hospital in your current job?
It's the calmness. That, like, just the essence of walking into a home that death is being experienced, and in the hospital it's a crisis. It is that you're throwing yourself into every detail of this family's life, and in an emergent way. Like, you need information, we are acting, death is something to escape, or maybe something that could be escaped. There's Epictetus is another Greek philosopher, and I was reading him this weekend, and he said, do not be disappointed by things like death or natural disasters, things of that nature that you have absolutely no control over. You have to accept them and you have to move forward. And I think that I kind of fell into that trap. I remember the last body I put in a body bag before I left in 2013, and I was kind of angry. I was angry. I'm not saying I was kind of angry. I was angry. I just didn't want to put another body in a body bag. I was so done putting bodies in body bags, and as if I had any control over that. Like, of course, in the work setting, I have control over that. I can choose to put myself in that position, or choose not to put myself in that position. But being angry at death and your inability to influence that is an unrealistic standard. And so the contrast of having the experience where I have answers in the hospital setting, I have the answers, I know what to do, I can, give this drug, I can do this intervention, and I can save this life, versus this family's accepted it. You walk into that room and it's so peaceful. You're on the same page. This is happening. We're not fighting it. We're going with the flow. We're gonna take care of this, him or her, and peaceful. It's peaceful. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Like they're running in the hospital. We run away from death, and in an in-home hospice setting, you're basically walking towards,
just walking it out. Yeah.
Where you know the end is there. You don't know when it's going to happen, but you're just calmly walking. There's no running away from. There's no. It's a common thread of knowing. And shared. I think that is so huge that it's shared. I think that is the detriment to a lot of the nurses in the hospital who deal with a lot of death, is it's not shared. It feels like it's all on you. I mean, you've got your two patients, no matter where it is in the hospital, on the floor, and you've got 4 patients or 5 patients, and so does every other nurse, and one of your patients dies, you're getting some help, but they got their patients to take care. Like, you get it for like, okay, are you good now? Are you good? I feel good. Okay. Because they got their shit to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing shared about it at all.
Yep.
You might get help and physical support in doing all of the things. You pull out, it's not just something you put in the computer. You pull out a death packet.
Yeah.
Because it's got like 5 pages and 400 things you've got to do.
Yeah.
Tell a supervisor to fill out the packet.
Yeah.
It's only shared within such a small amount of people. Maybe 3.
Maybe.
At night, if you're there, maybe. And those other people, and even you, maybe you more, but are not literally connected. They're helping from the periphery, but there's no connection there. And the act of a human, the body and the soul dying, and the soul leaves, and then you just have the meat sack. That is so energetic, and it cannot help but seep into you and your energy. And those nurses, as nurses, they're taking that all of it on.
Yeah.
Especially when it's chaotic. Especially when the families are chaotic. It affects us.
Absolutely. How could it not? Yeah.
And you might think, no, I'm good. I mean, I've seen so many dead bodies. Like, I can talk about a dead body for days. I can't. It doesn't matter that you can't see the way that it's affecting you, because it's energy. It's something ethereal. It's not physical.
Below consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah. Completely incapable of perceiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an experience that is better shared with other people who are also sharing the experience. Yeah. And I think that's why, some of those times that, if nurses can think of times that they were literally able to sit with their dying patient, I'm sure there are times that it's a different thing, rather than like, family calls out in the room, needs medicine. You run in, go to the Pyxis, get the medicine, get the morphine, get the hurry up, dose is not in there, call pharmacy, run around, try to find a syringe, can't get it. She calls, he's got to go pee, can't get in there. Who did it, do that, call that. Then you finally get in there and you're like, okay, yeah, all right, you good, I mean, need water, whatever we bring, you bring up that death card or with the food on it. It's like, and we do it just over and over and over and over like it's nothing.
It's a heavy weight.
Now, how do you do it different? Can you do it different? Can nurses do it different? The ones who are still doing the work, still working in the hospital, still in the ICUs, still in the ER, still taking patients, all the patient death. What is it? What can you do different? Is it just a perception change? The process isn't going to change.
I mean, I think you have to go through the kind of the dark night of the soul. You have to go through it. You have to hit that rock bottom and reevaluate. I mean, the innocence that I approached my career initially, like I couldn't approach it any other way, because if I didn't approach it that way, I wouldn't be a good nurse. I wouldn't be as skilled as I am. And I don't think if I did it any other way, it would be uncaring. It would be uncommitted. Like, you have to be committed to this career. And until you get to that breaking point where something has to change, and maybe some people don't have to go through that. I don't know. Good for them. Like, bravo. But for us, we had to get to that breaking point. And, maybe it says something about our care that we care more or something, or too much. Maybe, I don't know. I'm definitely open to that idea. I think I've probably cared more for others than I have myself, and
So I think that's what it is. It's not that the not care is there, but that maybe there's a disproportionate amount of care. So it's very heavy on them, light on us. Light, not a lot of care for ourselves and our souls. That's where it is, because nurses will still have to put patients in body bags. Nurses will still have to deal with families. But maybe if you make it more even, or even give yourself a little more. I wasn't giving myself anything. And maybe if you are caring and nurturing for your own soul and understanding how delicate that is and how precious and important it is to know who you are, to care for you, to soothe your soul, to heal any broken parts of it, and you're doing that work, maybe that allows you to not be so affected by the things that you have to do. Death and body bags and poop and pee and, vomit. It's my worst. I hate vomit. But you know what I mean? Like maybe it's that. Maybe it's creating more of a boundary type. I always vision myself sometimes, and you talk about geometry a lot too, of like, the aura, the area around us and how it interacts with the other environment and on an energetic level versus like a level to what we can see and what we're actually around. And if I look at myself before and think, God, a lot of those circuits were broken, close all the way. Like the electricity wasn't getting through. There were a lot of broken connections. And now I feel strong. I feel it's beaming, like heavy, like not heavy, strong energy, like a lot of it. And almost connections are made around my energy bubble that I am here on earth in. And that allows you to move through all the things that we have to do with more strength, with more power. Yeah, those words, like confident, just wholeness, non-brokenness. And so maybe they don't those negative things don't get in so much anymore. Good things are coming for sure.
Yeah.
I feel it. I just know it. So like and follow.
Yeah.
Like and follow. We love comments.
Right. Yeah. Please comment.
Right. Yeah.
Tell us what your best day in nursing was.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
You have to think about it. I had to really think about it.
Yeah. Well, you have to come back and you have to come up with a story, your specific story.
Best day in nursing.
Yeah.
Tell us about your best day in nursing. That would be so great.
And maybe it's still coming. Maybe it's nursing you. Maybe nursing you is going to be. Yeah, I think I'd be open to replacing my best day.
Oh yeah, well, this feels good. Even just recording feels so good. This is a good day in nursing. But when we're able to really see the impact that this has on other nurses and other people and healthcare workers, hearing people say, "I hear that. I feel that. I was there," wanting to tell their story. That is a good day. So we are on YouTube and Apple and lots of other podcast platforms, Spotify, but the video, our video is on YouTube. And so we're also on social media and TikTok. Yeah. So we're stepping out of our isolation zones and we're trying to be social. which is hard sometimes. But we do it for us. We do it for you. So we will see you next
See
week.
you next time. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode.
Remember, the conversation doesn't end here.
Keep the dialogue going by connecting with us on social media posted in the links below or by visiting our website.
Together, let's continue to redefine nursing and shape a brighter future for those we care for. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep nurturing those connections.
And don't forget to be kind to yourself.